uSpace, because we probably are not going to continue doing it with uSpace coming online. So why did we want a social network? Well, the first thing is that it's a very student-led way of dealing with things. Our students are using wikis in the dental school quite a lot. We use them for assessment in a number of the years through their BDS program, and they get used to that style of working. And when given another type of assessment, they're banging on the door saying, can we have a wiki to work this out, please? We've got to make a presentation, we'd like a wiki. Because they knew that the wiki was a work-based environment and they could get the lecturer to have a look at it before they made it into the final product and things like that. After a while, that gets a little tiring because we don't have an IT technician in the dental school at the moment, setting all these wikis up, allocating the students to them and things like that. So we really wanted something that would be student-led and allow them to allocate a wiki to themselves and sort it out for themselves, but make it a work-based environment. And I've put there, by making it easier for them to start their own wikis, would we get more sort of collaborative working? And I've put that as visible collaborative working. Would we be able to see that they're working on these assignments and anything? They probably would have done it down the pub before, but we would be able to track this sort of working if we have our own network in the dental school. We use Moodle for our wikis because it's one of the easiest to use. It's the easiest for group allocation of wikis and tracking and student monitoring of what they're putting in. It looks like a dog's dinner, whatever you do to it, and however much time you spend wrestling with Moodle, always looks like Moodle. We decided out of the box that Facebook wasn't an option because students in other projects I've been involved in reported that they're very possessive of their social space. They don't like the idea of me being on their iPod too much, apparently. That's how they put it. It's for their music, not me. And the other thing is they like to be able to manage their personal space. You can have personal profiles and put people on limited and things like that on Facebook, but they don't like spending all the time to do that. And the other thing is on Facebook is one of the things the student came in and was quite honest with me, and he said, my Facebook group membership is my badges, it's my Cub Scout badges, it's my war medals, everything else. I want, you know, Anarchist UK and all the other cool bands that I follow to be on the side of my Facebook page. I do not want Dr. Stokes' revision tutorials in that list. So it's one of the ways, let's separate, you know, the Facebook side of things from the work. The other thing is it's the potential to put staff in a member of conflict, and I myself have been in this position. I have been on limited profile with some undergraduate students while they go out on electives all around the world. It's a very easy way for them to send pictures back of all these exciting dental projects they're doing in the back of Beyond. But it does mean that on my news feed, I can see when they're on the beach, when they should be in the dental hospital or wherever they're going, for example, and when I'm getting this information from one side, it's conflicting with what I'm seeing on the screen. And I don't really want to be in that position of saying, well, you weren't where you were because I saw it on Facebook. And the other thing is, we thought if we started a new system, we could set the rules. I could stand at the front and very quickly say, right, we're going to have this new system. It's like Facebook, but it's for work. So you have your work-based environment here. And all members of staff can be on there because their profile can be sort of an office for them. And there's not that divide. Okay? So what we used is Elgg, which came out in its current form last August. It was like middle of August. We weren't looking at it for this originally. We were looking at it in the dental school for a continuing professional development delivery site and rejected it on the basis that it was a bit too loose for people who really weren't that into e-learning at the time. But when we were looking at it, we realised that the wiki functionality in it and things like that, and it was student-led, and it would be great for our students. So we thought, right, this bridges the gap, because we use MOL, we use this Moodle for wikis only, and then we thought, well, we'll stick this in, and uSpace is on the horizon, so we won't have to run it forever. And we got it out of the door about a month after it came out on the net. I'll say now that it's all the work of Arunansi Chatterjee, AC, as he's known. We put it all online. We got it going, and we both admit that it's the buggiest bit of software, the version 1, we've ever seen in our life. And AC did a lot of work to fix a lot of the bugs and put them back into the community for people using it. So there it is. And what happened then? It was non-mandatory. I just stood at the front of a small number of lectures in front of all of our undergraduate cohorts and said, hey, we've got this thing. And when they looked at it and went, ooh, And then they registered. And they registered in little cliques and groups in social sort of group. And it did seem to be social groups or formal groups that already existed, so labs and things like that. They started a friends collection race. So in Facebook, most people were quite saturated with their number of friends. Start a new social network. Everybody wants to get the most number of friends all over again. It's a whole new game. And of course, the new twist on this one is that you could start gathering staff as well and see which is the most senior member of staff you could get into your friends list. So that little game started around the dental school, and it was quite entertaining. That did mean it grew really quickly, because if somebody wasn't on it, another somebody went up, quick register, I want you as my friend. And it meant that we didn't manage to register anybody. It got saturation within about 12 weeks. We had virtually everybody in the dental school signed up without a lot of work. The initial groups that we got were formal. They were physical geographic type groups, so a lab, a class, a seminar group. It took a while for the ones that was spread across actual physical boundaries to start appearing. We got tutor groups appear, seminar tutorials, and it was later used by me for creative assessment. So rather than doing a small wiki in groups, I threw 85 students into one group and said, sort it out. You put in there what you think would be useful to the community. And we made a group that has every resource you can ever think of about giving a presentation, including them making all videos or wikis or whatever they fancied would be useful. And we threw all that in and used this system for that. There's reflective blogging and PDP stuff. Some of the tutors are on clinic, and it's a bit frantic at the end of the day, and everybody runs away, and some of the tutors have then put a reflective thing about how they thought the afternoon went between them and their tutees, and what went well and didn't go so well, and stuff like that. So the students are logging into the wall postings on there to look at that. And we've also got fresher forums for students who have not yet enrolled at the University of Sheffield, because of course where we control this, we don't need to have them a university registration to log in, and it was an easy way to get them into the network of the dental school, so they could start getting undergraduate students to be their friends already and swapping information about books and things like that. So example groups, we've got the the Hygiene Theory Freshers Forum is on there, some of the research groups that exist within the school, some of the labs, the good practice presenting with an assignment-based thing, and all those sort of things appearing. And then you've got little cliquey things. Here's an example of a potential group. So this is my assignment, so this is how they look. Good practice presenting, so there's all the group members there, they all registered and joined. And then on the other side, I've anonymised it, but they started making their own wikis and starting that all on their own. And it was much more collaborative than I've seen in the past with wikis. A lot of them write all the Word document and then throw it to the wiki at the last minute to keep their powder dry. On this, because they knew they could move it around and they were in control and could lock it and stuff, it did grow in a more gradual process, which is good for me because I could steer it a bit more. And these are what we really set it up for. And these took quite a while to arrive, which are students given an assignment, and rather than going to the pub, because I say to students, you know, when they want to be my friend on Facebook, that really Facebook's a bit like the pub for me, and that in fact if you go there and do work, I'm fine with that, but I'm not going to rock up with a load of handouts and a projector. So if you want this space, it's yours. So they've done it. So they were set some presentation essay type assignments. And we've got a dozen or so of these have appeared over the last few months of students just grabbing a space, doing some collaborative work. And there's all sorts of postings and people being quite rude to each other, saying you've not done enough work and stuff like that. It's all in there. And then it dies. And that's one of the things. This sees quite a lot of spikes of interest. As an assignment comes around, you'll see new groups appear, but then they just die. So we're looking at how we're going to manage those over time as they gain in number. But so that's it. Now, staff interest has waned because of uSpace is coming. So they know that they're not going to split the time between the two, and we're going to move to that. But undergraduates-wise, they're still using it quite profusively. So that's it. That's what I was going to say.